Hey, and welcome back to this focus here in the basics. Today we're looking at the issue of evaluations and specifically focusing on teaching evaluations. So teaching evaluations, I think, at their center or foundation, they're designed to help us improve our instructional or faculty efforts. We're delivering a concept in the class. We think it's really clear to us, but 60% of the students in the class said they didn't understand it or they couldn't figure it out. That's an opportunity to use the student evaluation as hopefully an objective way to connect back with us and let us know that we could change something. They are also connected often to reemployment, even academic tenure. So all of us going through tenure at a college are expected not necessarily to have the best student evaluations, but to have student evaluations present, to review those with peers, with deans, and then to make some improvements to our craft, our teaching, or our faculty expertise on campus. Evaluation processes, if you're interested in like that contractual side, it's a collaborative process through both the Academic Senate, and the Academic Senate focuses on the academic and professional matters, and the Faculty Association, the bargaining unit through the CTA, CCA, which deals with contract and working conditions at the college. So it's a collaborative process coming up with an evaluation procedure, with evaluation forums, and we always take into account suggestions from faculty. So if you have a concern about how evaluations are being administered, if you have a concern about how evaluations are written in terms of the questions, reach out to any of us on the Senate, through a bargaining team on the association. If you don't know who those folks are, send any of us an email on campus and we can very quickly get you that information. I want to say, although teaching evaluations are designed to be objective and part of that process of evaluating what you're doing and redesigning things to make it better for student comprehension, they're not always perfect. We know in situations sometimes the response rate is really poor. In the case of some of our DE classes, we discover that as few as 2% of a class might actually fill out an evaluation. And we've talked about incentivizing this. We've talked about a raffle for a $25 Barnes & Noble bookstore credit if you fill out your evaluation. So I think that's something we have to talk about in the future to get those particularly DE response rates up. I say DE because in a face-to-face class or ISP, you have an audience and you say, here you go, there's 30 of you here, I'm going to pass out the evaluations. No one refuses. I've never seen a student say, I'm not going to do it, and they leave. In a DE class, even if I say to you as a student, please fill this out, what's the incentive to me? It's more work I have to do, I have to click on it and type some comments. So I think our DE classes are an area of improvement in terms of the response rate of our evaluations. Now, the second thing is, because evaluations are not always perfect, in some cases, we hope not, a student will say something unprofessional to you. We hope they say something professional. Years ago, I had someone commenting about I remember this, to this day, it was like 20 years ago, and they made some comment about how I was dressed, and it was pretty disparaging. It's on there. At the time, it was pretty upsetting to me, but as I think about it going back, I'm over my, over 25 years teaching full time, I think, that's just part of teaching. Sometimes people say things to you, you have to let it go, have a thick skin and move on. But it will happen, so I don't want to give the impression that every comment you read on the evaluation is either going to be totally objective or totally professional. There are situations where, I hate to say it, if a student is getting a low grade, there may be that effect on student evaluation such that they mark you down really low, even though you're teaching a great class. It's on them to be a better student and to pick up their grade, but they blame you, and one way to take that out on you is through the evaluation. So I hate saying that, but I'm being very direct and honest in these videos because that is, to be honest, part of just the experience of being a faculty member dealing with evaluations. If you have any concerns about evaluations, again, reach out to us, whether it deals with the writing of them, how they're administered, how that affects your longevity in the district, full or part-time in terms of tenure or reemployment. Just reach out and any number of us would be happy to help you out.